Welcome everyone, welcome once again. Here I am standing to explain you some of the question answers of the textbook of class 8, Civics chapter number 1, the Indian Constitution. I request you all students of class 8, whoever are watching this video, to take out the script, answer script, keep it in front of you so that whatever I can explain, you will able to get through it. Okay? So take out your answer scripts and then you try to understand why the question, what is the question and why the answer has been written in that fashion. Okay, clear? Now in the question answer part, the Indian Constitution, your first question is, why does a democratic country need a constitution? This is the question. In the notes part only, while I was explaining, there was a question, why does a country need a constitution? You can write that answer also, as well as here in the answer script, the answers are written as, it lays out the important guidelines that govern decision making within the various societies of the country. Your answer will be framed as this one only. It lays out certain ideals, it lays out certain principles, okay, because there also it lays out certain principles that aspire the citizen to live in, right? So your answer of this question will go in this fashion only. It lays out, you can write down this answer also, that answer will also be accepted, okay. It lays out the important guidelines that govern decision making within the various societies of the country. It gives an idea, it gives guideline, okay, the answer number 1, it gives guideline. Guideline means a set of rules. A set of rules is known as guidelines. It gives guidelines for what? For decision making purpose that govern decision making within the various societies of the country. Okay, clear? Give the guidelines that govern decision making. This is the first point. Okay, that answer is also correct. Time and again I am telling you, either you can write this answer or that answer. Just match it up with the script. Yes. And the second one is, that means the second point. It is the first point, right? Now the second point of it serves as an asset of rules and principles as the basis by which the country has to be governed. That means it gives out, it serves as an asset of rules and principles. Again, it lays out the principle, it gives the guideline, it lays out the principle, it lays out the ideas on the basis of which country has to be governed, how the country will run. Okay, this is the answer. That means it gives rules. In short, we can say it gives rules and principles. Right? It gives rules and principles by which the country has, by which the country has to be governed. The country has to be governed. You can write over here only, the country has to be governed. Okay, clear? So these are the 2 points which I have written in short. Okay, this makes your answer. Why does a democratic country need a constitution? Why does a country need a constitution? why does a democratic country need a constitution? A bit of difference is there, but both the answers are acceptable, no problem. Now the second question. Look at the wordings of the two documents. The first column is from 1990 Nepal Constitution. The second column is from more recent Constitution of Nepal. Two constitutions are being given. Okay, if you look into the question, two constitution is being given. One is of 1990, another is of 2007. One is Constitution of Nepal Part 7 Executive and another is 2007 Interim Constitution Part 5 Executive. Okay. Now, what is the basic? Now the article number 15 states executive power. The executive power of the Kingdom of Nepal shall be exercised exclusively by His Majesty. And in 2007, another part, the executive power of Nepal has pursuant to this constitution and other laws be vested in the Council of Ministers. The executive functions of Nepal shall be taken in name of Prime Minister. Now the question is, what is the difference in who exercises executive power in the above two constitution of Nepal? First question. It has a couple of questions. It has more than one question. So first you understand what is the difference in these two types of constitution. This is the first question. In the executive power, in terms of executive power, what is the difference between these two types of constitution? Clear? Now the difference in who, answer is the difference in who exercises executive power in the given two constitutions of Nepal is that in 1990 the constitution, this power was vested in the king. Mind you, if you read out the para or the stanza clearly in article 15 in 1990 column, the first one, left one, executive power of the Kingdom of Nepal shall be exercised exclusively by His Majesty, that means king. Earlier it was king's rule, later on the Nepal become democratic, so power goes into the hands of people over there, or Council of Ministers. So what is the difference? The difference is the power was vested, that means the power was given. The difference is the power is vested. The word vested means given. Okay, the power is vested in the king. Right? As per according to 1990 constitutions, the power was vested in the king and his council of ministers. As per which constitution? 1990 constitution, right? As per 1990 constitution, the power has been vested into king and his council of ministers. Whereas in your 2007 interim, the right hand side columns, the interim constitution of Nepal, executive power changed hands to being vested only in council of ministers. Now the power goes to the council of ministers here. Council of ministers, because the Nepal became democratic. Okay, so king has been removed and the power goes into the hands of council of ministers. As per 2007, right? Interim constitution, as far as executive power is concerned, the power is vested, you can say the power is vested in council of ministers. COM I am writing as a short form, council of ministers. You don't write it like this. Just to explain you the things, I am doing this part. Otherwise question answers have already been given. You look into the script, then only you will get the answer. Okay, this is the difference. What is the difference? In the first part, in your 1990 constitution, the power has been vested where? In the hands of king. The power has been given to the king and his council of ministers. But as per according to 2007, the power has been vested in council of ministers. No king's rule was there. Now another question which is attached to the same question. Keeping this in mind, why do you think Nepal needs a new constitution today? Why do you think that Nepal needs a new constitution? What is the need of new constitution when there was already a constitution? Earlier the power was in the hands of king, but now because it became democratic, a democratic form of government. What is a democratic form of government? A government which is made for the people, of the people and by the people, which is constituted by the people, for the people and of the people, right? So earlier it was king's rule, now it has been a democratic country. That's why the constitution is needed to get changed. Okay, so Nepal needs a new constitution today because it is no longer a monarchy. Monarchy here means king. Okay, so because it is no longer a monarchy, Nepal needs a new constitution now. The older constitution vested power in the king, but when the country is now a democracy, a new constitution is needed to reflect the democratic ideals of Nepal. In order to reflect the democratic ideals of Nepal, it is important that they should have a new constitution. Okay, in order to achieve this, all its constitutive rules must be changed. So if it want to perform in a democratic type or as a democracy, as a democratic country, the constitution obviously needs to be changed. You read the passages very carefully, everything will become crystal clear here. Now the third question is, what would happen if there were no restrictions on the power of elected representative? Suppose if there will be no restrictions, in the power of elected representative, whomever we have selected, that means it's a monarchy rule. If there will be no restrictions on the power of elected representative, if there were no restrictions on the power of elected representative, the leader might misuse the power. The leaders will misuse the power if there will be no restrictions in the power. If we will give all the power to a minister, or if we will give all the power to a single person, he will do as per according to his wishes and he will misuse the power. Okay, and the constitution provides safeguard against this misuse of power by our political leaders. It's a general statement that has been written that constitution provides safeguard. That means it provides protection against this misuse of power. Clear? It provides safeguard, it provides protection against this misuse of power by our political leaders. Clear? Now fourth question. In each of the following situations, identify the minority. You have to identify the minority. Minority and majority I have already told you. People less in number is are minor, and people more in number or species group more in number is known as major. You can also say that a group which is less in number is minor. People who are more in number is major. As for example, if Hindus are more, they are major. If Muslims are less, they are minor. Like that only you can specify, you can identify, you can clearly distinguish. Now the question is, here are certain cases given one by one, A, B, C, D. Okay, you have to identify which one is minor, which one is major, and why do you think it is important to respect the views of minority? Why you think it is important to respect the minor community? That is another question. So we will answer both these questions. That means first we will identify the minor and major and why it is important to respect the minor, or that minor will be protected. Okay, why it is important to protect the minors. Another is, okay. See, in the first case, in a school with 30 teachers, there are 30 teachers in the school, 20 of them are male. 20 out of 30 teachers, 20 of them are male. That means only 10 are female. That means females are minor community, right? People or group which is less in number. So female teachers are in minority. First answer, first or A you can say females are minor. Female are the minor part. Now another question, why it is important to protect why it is important to respect the views of minority? Why to protect why their ideals, it is important to respect the minor community. The female teachers must be allowed space to voice their opinion. It is important to give value to the minors also, so that they can also voice their opinion. Voice their opinion means voice their opinion. Here the sentence voice their opinion means tell about their ideas, their suggestions. They can also keep their ideas, their suggestions, their views, their ideas, everything. Okay, so to voice their opinion so that their efforts at teaching are not hindered, and while teaching they will not get hampered, their teaching will not get hindered by their minority status. Okay, this was the answer of A. Now another case is there, B. In a city, 5% of the population are Buddhists. Suppose only 5% are Buddhists. That means Buddhists are minority. Why it is important to respect the views, or important to respect the views of the minority? Right? Every individual has the right to follow the religion of his or her choice, as per according to the fundamental right that has been given, right to freedom of religion, as per according to which any people can follow the religion of their own choice. Right? It is clear? Now, people of other faith must respect the religion other than their own. It is important to Buddhists are the minority because they are only 5%. They are minor. Right? Now, why it is important to respect the views of this minority community? So that other people can also respect this caste, this group. Simple. Okay? So people must respect the other religion than their own. That means whatever the religion we are following, myself is following, I have to respect the other religion also. That's why I should protect the views of this minor community, Buddhists. Clear? Third one is, in a factory mess for all employees, 80% are vegetarians. 80% are vegetarians. That means only 20% are non-vegetarians. That means, why to protect the views of this minor community, non-vegetarians? You're seeing who is the minor community? Non-vegetarians are minority. They are the minor community, right? They are the minor community. Now, why to respect this one? So that he or she should have the freedom to eat what he or she wants. Everybody does see. Eating is a choice of people's own choice. It's a choice of people's own, right? It's our choice, any individual's choice. So we should protect these non-vegetarians. Why should we protect these non-vegetarians? We should protect these non-vegetarians so that they can eat the food of their own choice. Simple. Okay? So that non-vegetarians, that means non-vegetarians have the freedom to eat what he or she wants, right? It is very simple. It is already written in your answer script also. I have just making it brief. Why we should respect these non-vegetarian? Why should we respect the ideals of these minor communities? So that they have the freedom to eat their food of their own choice. Clear? Now the fourth case, in a class of 50 students, there is a class in which 50 students are there. 40 belong to more than well-off families. 40 belong to more well-off family. 40 belong to more well-off families. Okay, well-off, that means of belonging to very good family. Okay, then who are the minor community? Underprivileged, as the answer is given, right? Look into your answers. Underprivileged people. These are the people who are underprivileged, and these are the people. Okay, underprivileged peoples. Underprivileged means those who are not from well-off families. So these are the minors. Why to respect these minors? Citizens cannot be discriminated by their birth. They cannot be discriminated, right? Constitution also says people should not be discriminated. People should not be discriminated. Discriminated means differentiated, to make a difference. Okay, people should not be discriminated. On basis of birth. Okay, so their values should be respected. So their values be respected, right? Clear? Our constitution itself says that nobody should be discriminated on the basis of birth. That's why these underprivileged people should also be respected. Now the question number 5 is, there are certain key features given. You have to give the significance. Significance means importance. The first term is federalism. I have already told you what do you mean by the term federalism. A form of government where more than one level of government is working, right? Like in our country we have state government, central government. That means all the power will not remains with one. Okay. What is the significance of it? What is the importance of it? It ensures national unity. National unity. It gives national unity. It ensures national unity, and at the same time allows individual progress. For individual to get progress and to promote the national unity, federalism is very important. A federal government allows the center to hold supreme power, but its constituent states have some power as well. See, center is at supreme power. They have big power, but they have distributed their power to some other branches also, so that there will be unity. Without me also you can't work, without you also I can't work. That means they should remain united. Otherwise, if the power will go only in one hand, obviously there will be a tyranny, cruel or unjust use. And I have already told you earlier in question number 2nd or 3rd also that if power will be given to one person, he will misuse the power, right? Separation of power. Suppose if the question is separation of power, what is the significance of separation of power? This serves two purposes. Firstly, tyrannical use of power is avoided. Okay, first, separation of power. Why it is important? Separation of power. Separation of power. If I am going to write separation of power, why it is important? First, it avoids the tyrannical power, right? Tyrannical. Time and again I am using this word tyrannical, so you should remember it. tyrannical, cruel or unjust use of the power. Tyrannical power is avoided. Okay. What is its importance? Tyrannical power is avoided. Secondly, the three organs of the power also work. The three organs. Have you remembered the three organs? Yes, executive, judiciary and the legislature. These are the three organs. These three organs also work as a check. Here the check means to prevent, to stop, right? Work as a check on each other. So that there will be thereby maintaining a good balance, so that balance will be maintained. So by separation of power we have avoided the tyrannical power. In another terms, three organs, legislature, executive and judiciary, work keeping in mind that we don't have everything in our hand. We'll have to cooperate other departments also, so that our country will run smoothly, and that's why they have the check on each other. They have a stoppage, they have a barrier on each other. Okay, there is a barrier between all the three organs, and so that they will have a good balance. Okay. Third is fundamental rights. What is the significance of fundamental rights? Fundamental rights. Fundamental rights, I have already told you 6 fundamental rights were given. Right to equality, right to freedom of religion, okay, right against exploitation, cultural and educational rights, and there are other rights, fundamental rights. What is the significance of it? They are important because they conform to a humane society. They conform to a humane society. It confirms that nobody can dominate over other. You cannot be a wild fellow in the society, right? You have to live, and you have to live supportively as well as cooperatively. Okay. And they also protect citizens against arbitrary and absolute use of power by the state. Arbitrary and absolute use of the power. Arbitrary, wild, savage. Okay. So fundamental rights are important. Why fundamental rights are important? Fundamental rights are important. Okay. Fundamental rights are important. Why it is important?